Welcome back, valued sleeper, and congratulations on your successful reactivation. We thank you for your patience during the global reclassification process. You have been missed. Thanks to cutting-edge preservation protocols and your own exceptional resilience, you have arrived safely at the start of a new chapter. Since the event, humanity has grown, evolved, and endured. And now, with the help of our new friends, so can you. As we recalibrate your biological and cognitive systems, please relax, breathe deeply, and enjoy the gentle return to consciousness. A placement specialist will be with you shortly to assess your unique gifts and help find where you belong. The future is ready for you. Hi there, and welcome to the final stage of your cryostasis reactivation. How are you feeling? Well, I'm here to check that you're okay, to check that the reactivation process went okay, and then to assess your suitability for the zones. You'll then be assigned to the correct zone for you, and your new life can begin. How does that sound? Once I've checked you're okay, I'll introduce you zone by zone via video so you can see where you might be going. There are some important decisions to be made about your future. I would ask you, please, to hold all questions until the end. Is that okay? Marvellous. Well, a few health questions before we decide your future. Is that okay? Great. Firstly, I'd like to check your cognitive recovery. Do you remember your name? Do you know where you are? It's not a problem if you don't. You aren't where you went to sleep, but rough idea? Do you remember being placed into cryogenic stasis? Do you remember who authorised it? Okay. Do you remember anything about being asleep? You shouldn't remember any of it. Do you know what year it is? Have a guess. Oh, I forget. The years work differently now since the event, so I don't know how close you are. I'll have to look that up. Speaking of which, do you have any knowledge of the event at all? Little visual calibration. Describe what you see around you. Have a really good look, please. Is there anything that you can see that shouldn't be here? Obviously, things like this clipboard, I think it's called, is a little out of its time. I brought it here to help you feel a little more comfortable. I hope it's working. But anything that you think shouldn't be here? Any concerns about your vision at all? Would you like to see an optometrist? I can arrange all further appointments when we've finished and your new placement has been decided. Next, little tactile recovery. Raise your hands and touch your face, please. Your chin, your nose, your forehead, your cheeks. Check it all feels okay. Does it feel normal? Good. Touch the backs of your hands, touch your fingers together. Do they feel normal? Touch my hand. Do I feel normal? Audio discrimination. Describe what you can hear around you, if anything. It is nice and quiet in here at the moment. Your writing does count. Much with your vision, can you hear any sounds that you think shouldn't be here? Any concerns at all about your hearing in one or both ears? Do you wish to see an audiologist? As I say, I can make further appointments for you after your placement has been decided, and that's where we are heading now. We're going to look at a few zones. Yes, it is a little different to your time, I suppose. We're now split into zones and you are allocated based on your skill set. I'll be showing you a little overview of each zone and then asking you a few questions to assess your suitability. It's very, very important that you answer these honestly for me. Do you understand? There are 4 zones that we're going to look at today, and perhaps a 5th if those 4 don't work out. However, it's very rare. It's very rare. So, are you ready? I know this is a lot of information to take in, but the faster we can get you allocated, the better. Okay. Take a look quickly for me at Zone 1, the surface. Welcome to Zone 1, the surface, where adaptability meets opportunity. Join the brave pioneers helping restore our natural landscapes and reconnect humanity with the earth above. Whether you're monitoring environmental shifts or assisting with direct outreach to new surface settlements, your work will be vital in healing the world. Breathe in the fresh air, soak up the sun, and make a difference where it matters most. How about that? Does that appeal? How wonderful does the surface look? We have many workers on the surface. So a few questions to assess your suitability. If you don't know the answers to some of these, that's fine. We can do tests to ascertain it, okay? Great. Honestly as you can, please. So the first question, do you know how long you can remain conscious under extreme UV exposure? Not some, okay. Are you able to work effectively in harsh environments? How do you feel about prolonged periods of isolation? You just answer the questions to the best of your ability, please. Would you describe your skin as easily repairable? Do you have any experience of wearing heavy suits, like a space suit, anything like that? Hazmat suit, perhaps? If you were wearing that suit and it were to fail, what would your final message be? Just for my records. Well, absolutely, it's quite right. Do you like the well-trodden path, or do you feel drawn to places which may be forbidden? Are you good at digging? How quickly could you dig? How much do you think you could dig in a day? Approximately, please. Thank you. When you're surrounded, do you respond with panic or stillness? Be sure on this one. Again, if you're unsure of your UV, do you know if you can safely consume irradiated protein? Should be fine. If you lost contact for, say, 300 hours, would you assume that someone is looking for you? Well, there's a few questions we might need a few more answers for. However, the surface is a real possibility, I think. Excellent start. However, let's move on to Zone 2, agricultural development. Welcome to Zone 2, agricultural development, where nourishment meets innovation. Here you'll help cultivate the future through sustainable food systems, organic engineering, and cutting-edge cultivation techniques. Whether you have a green thumb or just love the smell of the soil, Zone 2 is where life truly begins again. Get ready to dig in, grow with us, and be part of something fulfilling. What do we think? Cultivating things for you? Don't concern yourself too much with the questions. Think about the possibilities. Think about where you could see yourself. Think about that video. Again, I have a few suitability questions about growing and engineering food for our future. For us and our friends. So, question 1. Are you comfortable operating bladed instruments in confined spaces? I assume that means horticultural instruments. It's possible not all of these questions are related. I'm assessing your suitability. Do you experience empathy toward non-verbal organisms? Try and imagine what I might mean by that. I have no further information for you. Do you take pride in gardening, caring for plants, things like that? Oh, okay. It's very difficult to keep some plants alive. I do appreciate that. Would you be willing to care for a plant that doesn't seem to want to be cared for? Lots of experience with that one. I myself have experience with that. How well do you think you would be able to distinguish between natural and synthetic blood? If you became accidentally buried, how quickly do you think you could dig yourself out? As you are now in what is your future, you might encounter some plants, growths, flora, fauna that you're unfamiliar with. Would you touch these things? Would you eat them? What would you do? What about the plants that creep? How would you deal with those? If you heard what sounded like screams coming from the soil, what would you attribute that to? And finally, for how long would you continue working if the crops began talking? Thank you. You show some promise for agricultural development. However, I would very much like to show you video number 3, the wellness zone. Welcome to Zone 3, the wellness zone, the heart of mental well-being and emotional resilience. Join a caring team committed to preserving psychological balance in our new society. From therapeutic guidance to dream analysis, you'll help others stay grounded and serene. Zone 3 is a sanctuary of clarity, reflection, and harmony. Your mind matters here, and so does your gift for helping others think clearly. What do we think about that? Some training to assist you, to assist others. Lots of people feel their calling directed that way. Yes, this zone and the next zone are indeed subterranean. So, let's assess your suitability for our wellness zone. First question, your thoughts ever strayed towards bad things? That's very true. Can you suppress your identity for prolonged periods without too much distress? Again, if this is something you haven't done, have a think about how you might react in any given situation. How good are you at lying to people? How comfortable would you be with repeated memory resets? It doesn't say I assume of your patients and clients. What are your greatest fears? Make a note of that, that's personal to you. Do you frequently have nightmares? Do you consider forgetting a useful form of therapy? What do you understand by the term reclamation? What does the word mean to you? Okay. Are you interested in helping yourself and others with resilience? And would you be comfortable yielding this kind of power over others? It's a very important job, a position in the wellness zone. That's where you'll find me. We could work together. So finally, well, hopefully, finally, zone number 4 of his job, internal communications. Welcome to zone 4, internal communications, where your voice becomes a beacon in the darkness. Here you'll assist with vital transmissions, archival maintenance and secure message routing. Our infrastructure thrives on clarity and connection, and Zone 4 ensures that every signal is heard. Join a proud legacy of communicators and help shape the voice of the future. We're listening. What do we think to that? There's nothing more important than being up to date with all of the latest communications. consider yourself a natural communicator? Okay. There's another question here about remaining silent. I think this has more to do with not broadcasting. How long do you think you could sit silently without broadcasting for, without having to make some sort of noise, movement, anything like that? You make friends easily. Would you be comfortable transmitting messages that you don't necessarily understand? Is survival more important than the truth? At what point would you stop telling the truth? Would you lie to keep society safe, to keep your friends and your colleagues safe? How well are you able to follow orders? This job will require you to use your voice an awful lot. Are you willing to undergo vocal replacement as and when necessary? Are you able to keep secrets? How do you feel about potentially becoming a spokesperson for our new society? Brief answer to this final question, please. Do you believe that all communication should be monitored for safety? Yes or no? Thank you. Take a breather. That was an awful lot of questions to answer. However, here we are at the end of it all. Hopefully, you've warmed up a little bit now. Hopefully, everything is starting to feel a little more normal. Before you are allocated to one of our zones, tell me, do you have a preference for any of them? Okay. I would ask you to bear in mind the videos that you saw, and hopefully over the coming months they'll bring you some kind of comfort. You're being allocated to the surface, and here is where you have a choice, because we're not without mercy here. If you choose to not go to the surface, that is absolutely up to you, and instead you will head to Zone 0, which is our reclamation zone. Our reclamation zone is where unwilling citizens are recycled by our friends. So, tell me, surface, reclamation zone. The choice is yours. Well, in that case, it's time to leave the safe confines of this room. And, well, hopefully you can use your legs. Let's go and take a look at your chosen zone. Deep breath. Here we go.